Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Craig Fulton of Evergreen, and my job here is to make sure you get the most value of your business. And I'm excited today to be joined by Lisa Beringer. Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah.
I'm Lisa Beringer from Beringer Technology Group. We're out of Maple Shade, New Jersey, which is a stone's throw across the bridge from Philadelphia. We're an IT managed services provider that we got started back in 1993 and
Yeah.
sold to Evergreen in 2020.
All right, let's get into the details of that. So thank you for being here. I think you have a great story. It's very inspirational, and I think that a lot of people can relate to that have their own IT service business and have gone through this for decades. So you got started in 1993. Tell me what that was like in the beginning. And I believe your husband Craig is the one that started it. Great
That's
name.
right.
I love that.
Very good name. All the best people. Yeah, Craig. So Craig Beringer, my husband, started the business in '93. It actually started as a small ERP consultancy initially,
Okay.
very focused around wholesale distribution. And he had built quite a client base of wholesale distribution clients all around the country. And really, 30 years ago, '93, starting to look at, well, how can I bring IT services to this group of clients that I already have that I'm
Right.
doing this ERP business with? And so they really morphed the business from doing ERP consulting to purely IT managed services for the distribution industry. And that's
Okay.
really how they got started out of the gate in '93.
So I guess, the morphing into managed services was probably more into the 2000s when, you kind of saw that emerge.
Yeah. So he started doing break fix, obviously, and kind of
Right.
IT consulting initially, and wide area network projects, and all these hardware projects, software projects. But he quickly figured out that he didn't like sweating it every night, wondering where the paycheck was going to come from at the end of the week
Right.
or the end of the month, and how he was going to start paying his employees. So he became a managed services provider. He started putting those clients on retainer. I would say probably in the mid to late '90s, before the big IT managed services
That's right.
wave came. So he was kind
Yeah.
of very visionary and thinking that, and really because he saw that as a way to grow a stable business.
I love that. Every once in a while, I will meet someone that was in that. I think when things really took hold is probably late 2000s, and
Yeah.
you saw the software come on the scene. So, um, all right, let's talk about then an aspect of what Behringer does. I think that's pretty unique is the software side. This is when you joined the company, right? What's your
Yeah.
background, by the way? Let's know a little
Yeah.
bit about Lisa.
So my background, I came out of the software industry. I spent 25 years in the software industry working for a company called Profit 21, which is now owned by Epicor, that does ERP software for wholesale distribution. So Craig and I had a lot of things in common, and there's a funny story about how we met along the way there.
Okay.
And then I left Profit and spent about 16 years with Oracle in various positions, both in the ERP and the CRM side of the business, running consulting as well as channels and alliances, and then spending time in license sales as well. So my background is very much the software industry, and we had talked for years about when and where there might be an opportunity for us to work together again, and I just never really saw a spot. And then they started getting into they had a client, and they had done a gold mine implementation for them. So an early
Wow.
CRM provider, right? And the client decided that they wanted to move to Microsoft Dynamics. They were going to be the beta customer for Microsoft Dynamics CRM version 1.2 or something like that.
Right.
And so Microsoft asked Behringer to partner with them on that implementation because we had the domain experience in the client, and they obviously had the software experience. We had none with Dynamics at that time, and so that kind of launched us into the Dynamics space. That project went very
Yeah.
well. One project led to the next, and then at that point, there was an opportunity for me to join. That was my background and my experience, and I saw a way to kind of take that side of the business and help grow that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I came in and helped them um, kind of institutionalize the consulting side of the business for the applications consulting. I focused exclusively really in that area of the business. And we just kept going. So we took a lot of the intellectual property that we developed over the years, built it into a product that we sold alongside of Microsoft Dynamics, and kind of just launched our business in that area. That led to application managed services, led to Microsoft Business Central and Power BI and the whole Power Platform. And we having the two sides of the business served us really well because when in market times when IT was suffering, applications always seemed to be moving forward. And when applications was softer, when the economy was hard and big projects were getting put on hold, IT was moving. And so having that base of clients, the philosophy of the company was, Craig started from the very first client he had, is great work leads to more work. And so, we just continue to serve our clients and look for ways to continue to add value both on IT and applications with that client base.
It's incredible to hear that and the success, because I have met a lot of IT providers that, man, I wish I could do something with development. Or it did seem like in the late 90s and in the 2000s, like websites made sense for IT providers to do. And then once that's there, that's there. And so it's great to hear that. And I have to imagine then the move to the cloud probably helped get that really going for you, right? And everything Microsoft was doing must have been a huge help.
Yeah, it was. At first, it seemed like it was going to be a hindrance because, as IT managed services providers, we were used to these big IT projects and infrastructure and everything else. But because we had to really start leading with that helped us sort of transform the entire business and I think it helped the IT side of our business get ready to be really cloud enabled as well early.
Okay. And I know that you got also very involved in the MSP community. One of the first times I met you was in the HTG, was doing their peer groups, and now IT Nation. I'd love to hear, how that was for you being a part of the community.
That was amazing for me. So the one thing coming into the business, helping grow the applications business, and then starting to help run the operational side of the business and helping really grow the company, I realized quickly that I needed peers. I had that at Oracle. I had this huge community of amazing, peers in the consulting space as well as the sales space. And I realized I needed to find that in IT. And so we joined HTG, and at a time really when our business was struggling. We had been through a few kind of downsides in the business, and I came in to HTG, found an amazing peer group, amazing people in that peer group that are lifelong friends now. And every meeting we would go in and talk about, what was going on in the business and get advice. And we'd come back and implement as much of the advice that we could. And we'd show up the next meeting and do the same thing. And inside of about 2 years, our business was completely transformed.
That's amazing. I love it. But, and people ask me all the time, hey, Craig, what's one of the first things I can do to get serious about growing my business? I bring up peer groups, because it just seems like, when people try and do it on their own, there are people that are very disciplined that will set goals and start going. But when you're running a business, there is a little bit of an island, and it's like, who are you accountable to? A peer group's a great way to get that accountability and have that check-in and have those people to lean on. And then you went on to become a facilitator of the group.
I did, yeah. So we were in the peer groups for a number of years and just had amazing results inside of the peer groups. And after we sold to Evergreen, I had the opportunity to become a peer group facilitator. And I felt so strongly about, I wanted to give back to at that point it was, ConnectWise. Arlen had sold to ConnectWise, and I wanted to give back to the community that had given me so much. And I finally felt like I had something to give back, that I was in a position to be able to do that. And so I've been facilitating for the owners peer groups, the principals groups for 3 years. And I'm also facilitating for the sales exec peer groups now.
That's great. And I appreciate you doing that. And I've watched it happen, and you're phenomenal at it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So let's talk about then, you're in the peer groups, the business is booming, everything is just going great. What made you sell, right? That's a question that comes up a lot. People think, well, when's the right time? What's the thing I'm looking for? And I tend to tell people, it's kind of like sometimes I feel like sometimes maybe not plan it so much if the right thing comes along at the right time. But talk
Yeah.
about your experience.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we were building the business. We had actually started to do smaller acquisitions on our own. So we were
Okay.
building the company both organically and through acquisition. And I would say, and honestly, I went to an M&A event. I knew Ramsey. I knew Elliot. We ran into each other. And we were there kind of looking at smaller MSPs to potentially acquire. And we ended
Yeah.
up in a conversation with them. And one thing led to another. And I think what really worked for us was a couple of things. And this will be another plug for the peer groups here, but the peer groups is all around planning, right? Understanding what you want your legacy to be, your life to look like, how you're going to run your business so that you can achieve those goals, right? And
Yeah.
and a lot of it's a numbers game, and really being very dialed in on what your numbers are, what your personal wealth targets are, what it's going to take for you to be okay, understanding what you want to do next if you sell the business, whether it's to continue on inside of that business or to go do something else.
Yeah.
And I think Craig and I had gotten to the point where we were very, very dialed in on exactly where we needed to be and where we wanted to be. And like I said, one thing led to another in a conversation, and we ended up having some serious talks about selling the business with Evergreen, and the numbers lined up completely right for us. The vision of Evergreen and what that was going to help us achieve from a legacy standpoint was a big part of our decision.
Yeah.
Because I think you can sell to anybody for a lot of money, if you've
Right.
got a good business, right? There's a lot of people out there that want to buy managed services providers. But the thing that was unique, I think, about Evergreen was the vision of being a place to a buy and hold strategy and helping us to leave this company when we left. And Craig and I did continue on working in the business for almost 3.5 years after we sold by choice. It was going to be a
Yeah.
year and turned into 3.5. But we wanted to create an opportunity for our employees when we left that they would not have had if we had not chosen Evergreen. We
Yeah.
felt very strongly about that. We loved the message of being able to retain the brand identity inside of the markets that we were working in, but have this opportunity to be in a platform with a lot of other companies and with a lot of services and support that we could leverage if we chose to,
Yeah.
but still make independent decisions about how the business was run. And
Yeah.
so that message resonated really well for us. And honestly, after Evergreen acquired us, the business continued and still does under
Yeah.
a new leadership that we were lucky enough to work with Evergreen to bring in a new CEO
Yeah.
into Beringer Technology Group, and she's amazing. And we just felt so comfortable. The transition was so natural, and now she'll take it into the next level. So
Yeah.
we really felt great about Evergreen, the company, everybody that we spoke to when we were doing, and we were only the seventh acquisition. So there wasn't, 50 people we could go talk to. There was a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
all had very positive things to say. And yeah, so we felt very comfortable with the leadership at Evergreen.
Yeah. Super happy to hear that, and congrats to you and Craig and everything you've done for the community and for the colleagues at Beringer. And it must have been going great if you're still here. So happy to hear that. So
Yeah.
thanks, Lisa. We can wrap this up, but before we go, I do like to ask one question. Like, if someone's tuned in, they have a business, they're thinking about maybe what's next, like what's some advice you would have for someone?
Oh, I would say figure out what you want, first of all, as a business owner. What you want when you're looking back at the end of your life, what you want your legacy to have looked like, and how you want to live your life as you're getting there, and where you want to take that business. And really dial into those things. Put a business plan in place. for not just the current year, but for the next 1, 3, 5 years down the road. And make sure that you build the team around you that understands what that plan is and is willing to execute to that plan along with you. I think, uh, having one person with an idea and a plan is great, and sometimes you can kind of muscle and feel your way there. But if you can get your entire organization on board with that, and get everybody moving in the same direction for a common set of goals, you're going to grow an amazing business.
That's great. That's got me thinking, like, I do see a lot of times people can create some great plans, but communicating it is probably a very key part of that so that everybody knows what they're
Yeah.
on board for.
Communicating it in an authentic way, and being as transparent as you can be
Right.
to get people bought into it, and not just communicating at once at the beginning when you make the plan, but really
Yeah.
communicating it on a monthly, a daily, a quarterly basis with your team so that they know what game they're playing and if they're winning or losing.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Again,
You're welcome.
congratulations. And thanks, Lisa. And those of you tuned in, we'll see you next time. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Greg. Bye.
Bye.